What's going on? It's Bradley again with Allaqcess Sports, bringing you our Week 3 pick'em against the spread. Now, even though this is against the spread, we're going to tell you who's going to win the games straight up. And by picking winners, I mean you probably want to fade me. We're 13-19 on the season, but hey, that almost puts us in the top half of America. So I'm almost smarter than half of you. We're going to quickly dive into every game that's on the NFL slate, give you a little bit of details about who's going to win, who's going to lose, and then our 3 locks of the week. Last week, we kind of struggled a little bit with our locks, going 1 and 2. We thought the Eagles would handle business, the Falcons did handle business, and the Chargers couldn't get it done. With that, let's go ahead and get into the picks for Week 3, and as you can see, I'm not afraid to put it up on the board. We're going to turn it around.
This is Allaqcess, your home for fantasy sports talk.
First game on the slate for ESPN is going to be the San Francisco 49ers at minus 10.5 against the New York Giants. That is a massive spread, but the 49ers have been absolutely crushing everyone this season. Now the New York Giants are likely going to be without Saquon Barkley, who looks like he's going to miss a couple weeks. Daniel Jones doesn't look good. His weapons don't look great. That defense doesn't look nearly as good as we thought it was going to be. I see San Francisco putting up 40 in this one, and the Giants will struggle to get to 17. That's 10. Cleveland Brown at 1-1 against the Tennessee Titans 1-1. Both of these teams kind of have a similar composition, right? Like they want to play good football up front. They want to stop the run. They want to get a little bit of pressure, and they want to run the ball down your throat. Cleveland does lose Nick Chubb, unfortunately. Hope nothing but the best for him and a healthy, speedy recovery. Hopefully both of the surgeries that he has to have go without a hitch. Somehow the Tennessee Titans keep surprising. At plus 3.5 with DeAndre Hopkins potentially getting better and better with each game. Derrick Henry now taking a little bit more of the workload. I think Tennessee Titans can do it. The Browns are without Nick Chubb, and it's going to be up to Jerome Ford right now. Yes, I know they signed Kareem Hunt, but do you really think he's going to come off the streets and make that huge of an impact when he was in a Kareem Hunt role last year? Don't get me wrong, I like Amari Cooper. I like some of the wide receiving weapons in this game, but I think Tennessee Titans at plus 3.5 is a steal right now. The Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions, I really think this game is going to be super interesting. The Atlanta Falcons have played way better than I thought they were going to play, but that 2-0 record might be a little bit deceptive. They beat up on my Carolina Panthers, who, let's be honest, not very good. Then they beat the Green Bay Packers by 1. Detroit Lions, on the other hand, beat the reigning world champions in the Kansas City Chiefs, and then lost to the Seattle Seahawks, but the Seattle Seahawks have a really good offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown might be dealing with a little bit of a turf toe injury, so that could slow him down a little bit. David Montgomery, quad injury, could slow him down a little bit. I'm still liking Detroit Lions and some of the weapons they have with Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds, Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff just basically has to facilitate the ball to them and let them make a couple of plays against this Atlanta Falcons defense, who still is not very good and hasn't faced a good offense. Give me the Detroit Lions to win by a touchdown. Green Bay Packers 2.5-point favorites over the New Orleans Saints. Listen, that Saints defense is for real. I thought they were good. Turns out they're going to be great. They generate a ton of pressure up front, and it starts with Cam Jordan, who is going to disrupt Jordan Love all day. Green Bay Packers are also dealing with a couple of injuries. The New Orleans Saints, yes, Jamal Williams goes down, but I think you're still going to get the same production value from the running backs that you do have back there that you would have gotten from Jamal Williams in the first place. Or you can let Taysom Hill come in, direct snap it to him, and just let him run for 75 yards and a touchdown. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a similar score to that Panthers game where it's like a 20-17. Regardless, it's going to be the Saints on top. Is that going to be the first lock of the week? You're darn right. New Orleans Saints, even though I hate the NFC South, book it. Is there a faster team in the NFL than the Miami Dolphins? The correct answer is no. Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle, when healthy. Like, this team can fly. Bradley Chubb looks good, and they're probably going to get Jalen Phillips back next week. That means there's going to be a ton of pressure in Russell Wilson's face, and I really like this Miami team to get after. 6.5 is pretty steep, but I think they can do it. That Broncos defense has not looked nearly as good as we thought they were going to be. Even with the players that they had left over from Giro Evero's defense, they're not really translating to a lot of success this year. Give me the Dolphins. You gotta kind of feel bad for Kirk Cousins, right? Like, he's going to get blamed for the loss. When in reality, his offensive line is terrible. His defense can't stop the run. His wide receivers, besides Justin Jefferson, haven't really been getting open, with the exception of one ginormous Jordan Addison touchdown for like 75 yards. But of course, it's going to be Kirk Cousins who gets the blame. He's not great, no, but he's good enough to get the job done in this offense. And then you have another coach on the hot seat over here with the LA Chargers. This game is going to be extremely exciting to watch. It really is a coin flip for me. I think the Chargers are capable of winning this game by 10, and I think the Vikings are capable of winning this game by 10. One of the big differences is going to be the run game, right? Alexander Mattison only has 62 yards on the season, Joshua Kelly with 130, majority of that coming in week 1, and then Justin Herbert, 3 touchdowns, Kirk Cousins, 700 plus yards and 6 touchdowns already on the season. Whoever can get the run game going is going to win, and I'm leaning the Minnesota Vikings by a hair. This is a game that I really don't want to watch, right? You have Zach Wilson, who's not very fun. Mac Jones, not very fun to watch all the time. Patriots being 2.5-point favorites is kind of surprising to me. I get it. Zach Wilson, you think he's going to cause some issues. You think he's going to have some problems. You think he's going to have some turnovers. But that Jets defense is still pretty dang good. The Patriots, on the other hand, are just average at best all around the ball. If Zach Wilson is just capable of getting the ball over to Garrett Wilson, he's capable of carrying the load. That defense is going to make stops. I'm really surprised that this many people are on the New England Patriots right now. I'm going to lean New York Jets, getting Breece Hall active against a Patriots defense who's giving up over 120 rush yards a game. Give me the New York Jets. Sam Howell looks good so far. I don't care what you heard. I don't care what you've seen. Sam Howell is capable of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. Josh Allen somehow gets AFC Player of the Week. I shouldn't say somehow. That's a little bit tough on the guy, but he seems to have just as many turnovers as he does touchdowns every single week. I love him for fantasy. He's a big play waiting to happen. He's very capable of having high scoring offenses. But he's also having a lot of turnovers. I think Washington, because of that, is able to keep this game pretty close. Josh Allen with 510 yards passing on the season, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Sam Howell, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, just over 500 yards. Brian Robinson has looked really good. The Bills are probably going to try and stuff the run and force Sam Howell to beat him with his arm, generate some pressure, get in his face. I think Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator, is going to be able to draw up some things to keep it close. Buffalo probably wins this game. I'm going to go with Washington plus 6.5 for now. The Bills are going to win, but Washington keeps it close. I hate this line so much. I want so badly for the Jaguars offense to be good. Trevor Lawrence looked great week 1. Calvin Ridley looked good. Christian Kirk, he was kind of in the back seat. He played a big role in week 2. Zay Jones looked good week 1, and then he kind of got injured a little bit. Evan Ingram's looked like he's capable. Travis Etienne has had moments of greatness, and the Jaguars look good. But they got into the red zone last week, and Trevor Lawrence looked lost. CJ Stroud throwing for the second most yards in the NFL so far this season, with Nico Collins and Bobby Trees, aka Robert Woods. I was expecting Dalton Schultz to be used a little bit more in this offense. Kind of surprised that they're putting up the numbers that they are putting up, but they are playing from behind. It hasn't been against great teams, including the Indianapolis Colts last week, but 10 points is a lot to cover. Don't love the Jaguars cornerbacks. They have strong safeties like Andre Cisco, the linebackers, Allaqcess, Devin Lloyd, some really good linebackers there, but the cornerbacks do struggle at times. Nico Collins, Robert Woods, maybe they have something special. John Mechie also. Shout out to John Mechie for having his first career NFL catch last week for 17 yards. Kudos to him, overcoming a lot. I would love nothing more. Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley and my best ball in fantasy teams to get rolling this week. I think the Houston Texans have enough to keep it close. Jaguars are going to win, but they're going to be throwing. They're not going to go down without a fight under DeMeco Ryans. We have a lot of health concerns in this one with the Baltimore Ravens, Indianapolis Colts. I don't think that Colts defense can really stop anyone. I mean, I just mentioned how many points and yards they gave up to the Houston Texans. I think Lamar Jackson is an even bigger threat for that. He's going to continue to improve as the week after week goes on. I'm not going to say too much about this game because I think Lamar Jackson locks in and they absolutely handle business. This one pains me because the Panthers defense is good enough to slow down Seattle, okay? They are going to hold Seattle to under 30 points. But we know that offense isn't going to score. We don't even know who's going to be under center for the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young missed Wednesday's practice with an ankle injury, so it could be Andy Dalton, Jake Luton, or Luton, or you might even just want to strap a helmet onto Josh McCown, the quarterback coach, and say, go get him, Tiger. With the amount of injuries that the Panthers have with Shaq Thompson, J.C. Horn, I think Seattle's weapons are going to be too much to handle. Kenneth Walker should have a decent game because they're going to be up, so he's probably going to be fed the ball. But JSN over the middle is going to be a matchup nightmare. He's going to get Kamu, Grozier Hill, KGH, I guess is what they're calling him. It's probably going to be a bad matchup for him, or maybe it is going to be Jeremy Chin. But DK Metcalf, huge size, big wide receiver, massive game coming in for him. Unfortunately, Seattle Seahawks are going to take this one. 13.5 points? 12.5 points? Dude, these spreads are getting ridiculous. Justin Fields says he's going to come out and play the way that he should be playing. This Chiefs offense hasn't really impressed me or many people this far in the season. Okay, week 1. And then last week against Jacksonville, who's not a very good defense, they look stagnant. I'm going against my better judgment. Is Kansas City going to win? Absolutely. 13.5. I think Justin Fields, playground football, going to run the ball a lot more. When someone's not open, he's just going to take off on his feet. I think they can do it. If this game ends up 28-17, I wouldn't be surprised, and that still keeps it within 11 points. Dallas Cowboys against the Arizona Cardinals. Is the Cowboys defense going to once again outscore an opponent? Probably. I don't have to say much about this one. CeeDee Lamb, love him. Tony Pollard, love him in this game. Jake Ferguson, keep investing in him. There's no way the Arizona Cardinals put up more than 17 points in this one. Cowboys are going to put up 30. Pittsburgh Steelers against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this is a very interesting matchup. Steelers want to run the ball. They want to pass the ball, but they're not really doing either one effectively right now. Deontay Johnson's down, so that leaves you with a heavy amount of volume going to George Pickens and then some to Allen Robinson. And then on the flip side, Devontae Adams is just going to continue to get fed. Pittsburgh's defense is probably going to do enough to keep them in this game very close. I really expect Josh Jacobs to get a little bit going. I mean, the guy has less than 50 yards rushing on the season. He's got to do something. They're going to force the ball to Devontae Adams, hopefully opens up things up. Devontae Adams on a quick slant is absolutely terrifying. With the amount of pressure that the Steelers can generate, I expect him to have a high volume in this game. Not sold. Leaning Raiders, locking it in for 1.5. I can't believe I jokingly said Baker Mayfield was going to get it done last week. I said he looked good. He has some of the best weapons on the slate. If you watched our Sleeper Studs and Stacks video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I jokingly said Mike Evans and him were going to be a heck of a duo on the week. Lo and behold, Baker Mayfield looks like 2015 Cam Newton or 2013 Tom Brady. I think the 2-0 beside the Bucs is a fraud. Rachaad White is not going to get going against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. Baker Mayfield is going to have pressure in his face. Philadelphia is going to capitalize that. I know they have Avonte Maddox who went down. I still believe what they have up front, a very strong front seven, even with Nakobe Dean out as well. But the front four at least are going to generate pressure. The linebackers look good. They're going to get it done. Also, Hassan Reddick, get it together and get going. You have some incredible pieces sharing that defensive line with you. You're having one-on-one matchups. Hassan Reddick needs to get it going. Finally, the last game on the slate, the LA Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have a little bit of extra time to get healthy. Joe Burrow hasn't looked good. Jamar Chase says that they just need to run go routes. T. Higgins, he's out there just getting target after target. He's not complaining. He's going to get a bag at the end of the season with whoever decides to sign him. And then LA Rams, Puka, my boy, is just getting target after target. Most targeted player in all of the NFL. Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. I wish you threw more to Tyler Higbee. Fantasy team needs it. And then Kyren Williams. Misplaced. Cam Akers just gone. They said, we'll send you and a 7th for a 6th. Aaron Donald's been absent this year. Could he come to life against a Cincinnati Bengals offensive line that has struggled and can't keep Joe Burrow healthy? Potentially. ESPN is heavily favoring the Cincinnati Bengals, even though you look at some of the stats. Matt Stafford, 641 yards, 1 touchdown. That's surprising. Against Joe Burrow's 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 104 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 115, no tutties. Puka, with 25 receptions, 266 yards against T. Higgins, is the top receiving threat for Cincinnati right now. I shouldn't say threat. Top receiving stats-wise for the Cincinnati Bengals so far, with 8 receptions, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I believe that to be on 20 targets. The biggest thing is Joe Burrow with that questionable tag. There is potential that this changes. Right now, do we want to take the Rams? Do we think the Rams can do it? No. Bengals at home, Monday Night Football. I'm close to locking it in. That's almost an all-access all-in. We told you we're going to give you 3 locks. It's the all-access all-in. So where are we going with this? Well, we already mentioned the New Orleans Saints plus 2.5 against Green Bay Packers. I think they're going to make Jordan Love's day a world of hurt. Next, most confident, Philadelphia Eagles minus 5.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that Philadelphia Eagles offense is too much for the Buccaneers to handle, and that defense is too much for the Buccaneers offense to handle. Baker Mayfield probably going to have some balls batted down on this one. Going to be under a lot of pressure. I expect plenty of turnovers. If they had Jalen Waddle confirmed, I would lock this in, but it's not there right now. So give me the Detroit Lions by 3.5 over the Atlanta Falcons. That's going to do it for this video. If you could, make sure you give a thumbs up to the video. Drop a comment to let me know where I went wrong. I love knowing where I went wrong and what you think of these picks. Obviously, we're 13-19 on the season. We got to turn something around, so I'm going against my better judgment with some of these, and we'll see how it turns out. As always, I appreciate you watching. It really does mean a lot. There's a million things and a million people you could be watching, but the fact that you chose to spend a little bit of time with me tonight means everything. Don't forget, your chance to win a Millionaire Maker ticket happens in Sleepers, Studs, and Stacks, where we look at fantasy football, DFS, Draftkings picks for your weekly lineup every single week right here on Allaqcess. Hopefully the next time that I see you is in the green or down in the comments and in next week's video.